Hey guys, Brian here. Time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Our daily episodes where we talk about what we did today in our little VW restoration shop here in Orange, California. So let me just say briefly, we're going to talk about this guy, which is a beautiful pearl white 66 Beetle. Talk about this guy here, which is a sea blue 64 Beetle. And we'll talk about this blindingly bright and awesome Ravenna Green 74 Special Edition Beetle. So since we're standing here, why don't we go ahead and start with this one. So Mr. Rafa continued working on this one and got a bunch more stuff done, primarily up underneath the hood here. So these cars are just a lot more complicated than earlier Beetles. There is a lot going on in these as far as the fresh air system, ventilation system, heater, all that stuff. And so pretty much he worked on that today. So you can see he routed a bunch of the hoses for the fresh air and heater system here. And they're just hoses like routed all over the place on these things. You can kind of see them here. So there's various vents in the dash for fresh air and heating, defrosting. There's a big air thing that goes here. And so these later ones have, well, actually you can see here. So later Beetles have this mesh or this grill right here that can take in fresh air. And that in turn feeds into like a big, essentially like a big box that's kind of positioned here. And then that's where the fresh air comes from in these cars. Anyway, so worked on that, ducting some. He installed and wired the wiper motor assembly. You can see it there. And then this contraption here, again, if you're not familiar with them from these later, more complicated Beetles that had all this fresh air system and stuff that early ones didn't. These are basically the controls for that system. So there's knobs that go on the dash that you can turn to open and close various flaps and stuff on that system. You see like a cable hanging out here. So again, it's way more complicated than earlier Beetles. It's just a ton of stuff going on up here, especially if you compare this to like a split window Beetle or even a mid 50s or late 50s or even early 60s cars. Just way more stuff going on up here. Anyway, don't mean to belabor that point, but it's always a little surprising to me how complicated Volkswagen made these cars over the years. To me, part of their beauty with the early cars is their simplicity. And honestly, I feel like Volkswagen kind of lost that to some extent over the years. But you can kind of understand why. I guess they were trying to compete with more, modern cars, modern economy cars, like Ford Pintos and stuff like that were coming out around this time that had more, creature features, so to speak, but were still kind of budget friendly. Anyway, so they kept trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, I guess, with these cars. And I guess that's part of the reason that they just continue to get more and more complex. Anyway, if anyone's got anything to say about that, go ahead and post in the comments. Love to see people's thoughts on the ever-increasing complexity of these cars here over the years. Some more wiring, too. I think that yesterday he had the emergency and or headlight switches were wired up but weren't really installed into the dash yet. So yeah, some more stuff like that. I think he also put in the wiper switch and wired it into the wiper motor. So yeah, primarily just continuing to work up here on the car. And those are the main things that got done with Rafa's hands. So I actually worked on this car a little bit today myself. Basically, I took his rear suspension, so the rear trailing arms, which Jacob had previously removed from the car, and I pulled the seals and bearings out of those, and then I gathered up a whole bunch of parts, including his front suspension, and took all that stuff for sandblasting and powder coating. So in addition to those suspension parts, also took over the side trim. So we went ahead and bought new side trim, which of course, at least in Wolfsburg West, it's only available in polished aluminum or stainless steel. So having that also powder coated, like semi-gloss black. Went ahead and bought new headlight rings, same thing, powder coated semi-gloss black. So all those kind of trim pieces having all that stuff powder coated. That's the way this car came originally. Again, this was the Love Bug edition, and a couple $100 cheaper than a regular Beetle, regular standard Beetle. And my guess is the reason they could do that is because these cars completely lacked any chrome on them. So I guess they saved a few bucks not having to chrome bumpers and so on and so forth, headlight rings, stuff like that. So yeah, a couple $100 cheaper. The special edition Beetles, at least this particular special edition, the Love Bug. All right, so that's pretty much that car. So let's talk about these two beautiful specimens over here. So piles of parts. So let's talk about this one here first. The beautiful sea blue Beetle, which is in for kind of like a partial restoration. We're going to be doing almost everything-ish except a full paint job. We are gonna, in fact, today I went and brought the license plate light housing to our paint supplier for them to mix up some paint. We are gonna do some touch up on this car as needed. The deck lid has some random holes in it. I think somebody must have had some kind of badge or something here. I don't know. These 3 holes are not normal. And then there's like a dent here that we'll fix. So yeah, we'll repaint the deck lid, a few other spots on the car here and there, and then we'll give the whole car a good color sand and buff. And I think this paint job is really going to look amazing when we're done with it. But anyway, so I pulled the running boards off of it and a few other things, and then Jacob worked on it quite a bit. He pulled off the bumpers, he pulled off the deck lid handle. Let's see what else he pulled off. Pulled off the door seals. He went ahead and loosened up all the fenders and pulled out all the fender beadings so we can really, polish all the way up into that space. His fender beading was actually really nice, so we're probably going to reuse it. Yeah, he pulled the front grills off, all that stuff. The VW symbol. So yeah, pretty much antenna. Just stripping the car of everything that would be in the way, basically, of any touch-up paint, and allow us to do a really good color sand and buff. We still have to pull the windows out, but yeah, other than that, this car is about ready once we get the paint mixed up to go ahead and have Rene start working his magic on it. I'll probably go ahead and have him take a break for a few days from the Krusty Karmann gear and concentrate on this one, because I think he can actually do what little paint work is necessary on this one pretty quick, and then again go ahead and color sand and buff it and get it looking amazing, and then from there we'll kind of start working on the mechanicals and electrical of it. So the other pile of parts today is from this one, and so the owner, gentleman by the name of Doug, brought a whole bunch of parts, and this, what you see here, is not even all of it. We put a bunch in our container, and yeah, he brought over nearly everything that we need to finish building this car. Of course, we already have his seat frames, and those are being upholstered right now by our amazingly talented upholstery guy, Santiago. He's working on the seats right now. Those will probably be done in a couple days, and then he'll knock out the door panels. But yeah, the owner brought, I think, nearly everything that we need. There's probably going to be a few miscellaneous odds and ends, but you can see here seals and trim for windows, and his ashtrays there, latches, door handles. Here's his felt channels and stuff for the windows. Regulators are in our container right now. All the windows. He does have a retro sound radio on order, so we'll be installing that as well. And so yeah, this car should go together relatively quick here, because again, we pretty much have all the parts. Just a matter of starting to assemble it. I did do a little bit of assembly today on it, kind of towards the end of the day. I went ahead and built up his rear quarter windows, so put the seals on those and put the trim on those. So yeah, who knows, we may go ahead and pop these in tomorrow, maybe do the back window as well. His side windows, his vents. Let's see, those are, let me go find those real quick. His vent window assemblies are going to need some love, so it's probably going to be a little while before we get to those. Let me go ahead and show you guys those. So this is obviously a super nice car, and his vent window assemblies, Jacob cleaned them up today. The aluminum on them looks not too bad. We can probably clean it up, polish it a little bit more. However, the actual latches are pretty bad, pretty pitted, pretty ugly. I think it would be a disservice to put these on the car, as nice as this car is going to be. And so I'll go ahead and get a new set of vent window latches from Wolfsburg West, and they're of course riveted on, so we'll go ahead and put those on. And then he does have all original glass for this car. Maybe not the windshield, I'm not sure, but everything else is matching Duraglass. So we'll press those windows into these once we replace the latches and stuff like that. So yeah, it's gonna probably be like next week realistically before I can build the doors with all the windows, because one of the things that you do pretty early in that process is to put the vent wing assembly in. So yeah, until we get these rebuilt and assembled, not much really to do here as far as the doors are concerned. And like I said, yeah, Santiago's working on the upholstery. I think he's got the rear, I think he may have the backrest and bottom of the rear seat, and I think the bottoms of the front seats done. They're not actually installed on the seats yet, but he's got them, the covers essentially made. And remember, we make everything from scratch here. We're not buying any covers or anything like that, generally speaking. So yeah, we went and bought the material from our local upholstery supplier, and he started going to town making them. So guys, I believe that would be it for today. Actually, one more quick thing on this. So this car is leaving tomorrow. One last minute thing I did today is the owner came by and we talked, and he decided he did actually want the sun visors in it. Of course, Wolfsburg West only sells these in off-white, so I picked up some high quality vinyl paint and painted them. They're actually a really good match to the upholstery in this car, so probably go ahead and put these on in the morning, and then I think the tow truck is coming like mid-morning to pick this car up. So next time you see the shop on tomorrow's episode, this car will surely be gone. Speaking of which, I'll probably try and do a walk around of it and talk about all the things we did. So try and do that tomorrow before the tow truck shows up. So look out for that in coming days. So, okay, for real guys, that is it. Thank you again everyone for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.